Hello and welcome everyone to Let's Play Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets Extended. This guy is 115 speaking, and I guess you are probably not very surprised that this is what's happening. It's December 1st today, and for every day of December up until Christmas on 25th, I'm gonna release a single video showing Harry's journey through his second year at Hogwarts in this amazing PC game. Every day of December we will also open up a new Christmas decoration in the awesome advent calendar with a bit of a surprise at the very end, and we'll gradually see how the giant pile of presents is turning into one huge Christmas tree. So that should be a lot of fun. Some of the decorations will have something to do with the episode itself, some of them won't, but heck, let me guys know in the comments why you think a certain Christmas decoration was chosen for a particular episode. Now, like I said, you probably knew this was coming after our last year's Philosopher's Stone game Let's Play, where rather than just retackling the game the same way I did back in 2012, I decided to completely overhaul and change the control scheme, mod it with DirectX 11 renderer, and also upscale the textures somewhat. By the way, the DirectX 11 also exists for the Chamber of Secrets game, even with upscaled textures, which is awesome. However, I do not actually recommend it. First and foremost, it introduces lots of glitches and problems to the game, at least on my Windows 11. All the particle effects when it comes to fires and flames are stuck in a single animation frame, they don't move or even make sounds, and also all the fade in, fade out effects from the game are missing, making some of the cutscene transitions not particularly good. It's a shame that we cannot just have the upscaled resolution textures without the DirectX 11 render. That's what I would have wanted, but alas, these are dependent on one another. But feel free to give it a go and give it a try. And most importantly, the Chamber of Secrets Extended mod does not yet support DirectX 11. So what you're gonna see here, perhaps in a certain way, is gonna be worse looking than last year's Philosopher's Stone, but that's because the level editor through which the Chamber of Secrets Extended mod is running does not officially have DirectX 11 support, but I'm led to believe that the authors of the level editor are working on this integration, so by the time you'll get around to play it, maybe you'll be able to make the extended mod run with DirectX 11. If that happens, please let us know in the comments how it turned out for you. So what is it that's gonna be different in Chamber of Secrets this year, as opposed to my original walkthrough? Well, you can see it on the screen here. It's called Chamber of Secrets Extended. This, my friends, is an absolutely phenomenal mod which restores a ton of cut content, which to this day is a mystery to me why it didn't make it to the game on the release. Perhaps a CD disc, space limitations, I do not know. But a ton of new cutscenes, restored lines, entire areas, all functioning and restored to the game. Think of it really more as an expansion pack to the original Chamber of Secrets game, in case you ever played it. So many more story beats explored and explained for people who might not have read the book or seen the movie. It's just a glorious time, and I'm gonna do my absolute best to show you and explain which are the new things added to the game via the extended mod, as opposed to the normal version of the game. Now, I want this Let's Play to be useful to you even in case you're running the normal version of the game, but I'm gonna do my best to highlight the differences. Furthermore, just like last year, I want to be a completionist and scour the game clean, 100% it. Find every bean, every chocolate frog, every challenge star, get as highest number of house points as we possibly can, and of course, find all the wizard cards and associated secrets. However, Chamber of Secrets is a bit different than Philosopher's Stone. There are free roam areas you can revisit infinite number of times, and essentially with the extended mod, essentially half the levels of the entire game now are revisitable, right? Whereas half of them you'll only get to visit once. A difference that I'm gonna make very clear in each level in each episode, just so you'll know what you're getting yourself into, and if you'll have an opportunity to revisit later on, because this is not really something that's clearly telegraphed. Furthermore, you can get a virtually infinite number of Bertie Bott's every flavor beans in this game, so there's no specific number we are aiming for, plus some magical objects or even enemies will yield a varied, not fixed number of beans, sometimes 1, sometimes 3, sometimes 0, sometimes 5. So this can cause completely different number of beans in your own run. But there are a few instances where the number of beans and chocolate frogs and potion ingredients is fixed, and those I'm gonna do my best to highlight. Okay, so hopefully this is not too confusing. I'm still gonna complete the entire thing, and I have scoured every nook and cranny, every explorable area at every stage of the main story to ensure that I will miss absolutely nothing from the glorious goodness that is the extended mod. Okay, so with that out of the way, let us enjoy our first episode and see what's new with Harry.
Harry Potter lived at number 4 Privet Drive with his horrible uncle and aunt and their hateful son, Dudley. Harry was often locked in his room, and even though he was a wizard, he couldn't escape because he wasn't allowed to use magic when he was away from school. One evening, a house elf named Dobby appeared.
Harry Potter must not go back to Hogwarts. If Harry Potter goes back to Hogwarts, he will be in mortal danger.
Dobby disappeared, and shortly after, Harry's best friend Ron Weasley and his brothers Fred and George arrived in a flying Ford Anglia to rescue Harry from his prison. They flew him to their home, the Burrow, where Harry spent the rest of the summer before travelling by Floo powder to Diagon Alley. Harry met up with Ron's sister Ginny and went with her to Flourish and Blots, where the famous wizard author Gilderoy Lockhart was signing his latest book.
Great Scott, is that? No, surely not.
It is! It's Harry Potter! Ladies and gentlemen, this is the perfect moment for me to make an important announcement. I have great pleasure in announcing that I will be taking up the post of Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher at Hogwarts.
Bet you loved that, didn't you, Potter? Famous Harry Potter. Can't even go into a bookshop without making the front page.
Leave him alone. He didn't want all that.
Potter, you've got yourself a girlfriend.
I suppose your parents will go hungry for a month to pay for all the books you're going to need at Hogwarts. It's the least I can do to help out the poor and needy.
Harry, we've missed the train. The Hogwarts Express left 5 minutes ago. Oh no! What are we going to do? Well, I know that Dad took the flying car to work this morning. It's parked in Charing Cross Road. Okay, it's our only chance of getting to school on time.
Being sure to check that no one was watching, Ron and Harry took off in the old Ford Anglia.
Now all we've got to worry about are airplanes. I can't see anything in here. Phew, that was close. I think we're almost there. Uh-oh, I think the car's cutting out. Come on, car. Come on. Stop! 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 Ron, where are you? Over here, Harry! The Whomping Willow's got me! Don't worry, Ron. I'll come and get you. Just hold on. I can't do anything else. Hurry up, Harry!
Now, Ron getting us into trouble and we're getting ourselves out of it is gonna be a very common theme. So hello and welcome everyone to the actual game. First things first, if you played Philosopher's Stone before, without modding the control scheme, you'll be used to more of a tank controls. Using the D-pad to move forward, backwards and then turning around. However, this time around, Chamber of Secrets introduced an absolutely phenomenal control scheme that I then remodded into Philosopher's Stone last year, and that's a freeform WSAD movement, allowing you to cast whilst running and jumping, and of course aiming freely with your mouse across all axes. This degree of freedom is absolutely phenomenal, and it's something they kept for the next year's Prisoner of Azkaban game, okay? So, first things first, where on earth are we? Let me introduce you to our, well, last year it was called a report card, this is just an in-game menu. But the screen will tell you everything you need to know. So there's an objective, I have to rescue Ron. Do we really? Well, yes, we will be doing this over and over, it feels. But first things first, you will see a couple of icons over here. So, very familiar looking Gryffindor crest, because we most presumably did not get expelled yet and are still part of Gryffindor. So we can see we have 0 house points, and if you open up the house point menu you will see all other houses. So Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff and Slytherin. Of course Slytherin again are going to be the rivals here. But unlike being unfair in the previous game where Slytherin would always be up ahead for story reasons, this time around it's a little bit more interesting. And there'll be a couple of ceremonies where Slytherin can win, unless you really try. Well, okay, it's not all that difficult, but this time house points mechanic is more engaged. I'll talk a bit more about that later on. You will be rewarded multiple times across the game if in particular points in the story you're at number 1, okay? The ways to get house points are going to be attending our lessons, mastering associated challenges, as playing Quidditch. Talking about challenges, here's the challenge menu. It just says no challenges have been won. They do not want to spoil what sort of challenges are ahead, but these will be timed levels that you can complete as many times as you want and revisit them. This is something I hinted at, that there are many replayable areas of the game. And if you reach a certain time, you will get a full maximum number of house points, which is something the game doesn't tell you, and for the longest time as a kid I have no idea there's a goal we can aim towards, okay? So that's one way. The other way to get house points is Quidditch. It is absolutely back, and unfortunately I quite hate it. It is boring, it is on rails, and I'm falling asleep when playing Quidditch in the Chamber of Secrets game. I preferred it so much more in the Philosopher's Stone. Nevertheless, many people disagree with me, so hey, if you're in that camp, good for you. There are gonna be not 6 matches, but in fact 7 matches plus 2 practice rounds in the game. The extended mod adds 1 story-related match into the game, where you can also get house points, but that one you will not get to replay. But the remaining 6 matches, you can replay an infinite number of times and try to improve your score for those extra house points. Now, we also see Wizard Dueling menu. This has nothing to do with house points, it is all about those delicious beans, and this is kind of the primary way you can earn more beans, and you can do this an infinite number of times and get an infinite number of beans, okay? So we'll be working our way through the leaderboards. However, the story needs to reach a point where the dueling club will open first. More about that later. And finally, over here we see the so-called map. So Harry is here, and we are next to the Whomping Willow, of course. There are multiple areas across Hogwarts, and this shows some of those revisitable areas. We are essentially at Hogwarts grounds. The Whomping Willow is part of that. We'll also see an entrance to the Forbidden Forest, which I'll show you today, entrance to the Quidditch Stadium, and then a so-called Herbology Lesson and Diffindo Challenge, which are 2 different entrances. Interestingly enough, the Herbology Lesson is actually the Diffindo Challenge. The area over here is us breaking into a greenhouse to steal something. Has nothing to do with any lesson whatsoever, but there you have it. And then you can enter into the Hogwarts entrance hall. Again, I'm gonna show that to you today, okay? Finally, the counter for the Bertie Bott's every flavor beans, of course, will be in thousands by the game is over, just so you get a sense of how larger it is than Philosopher's Stone. Challenge stars, this indicator is something that the extended mod has added into the game, because the original would not show you this. But in the extended mod there are many more maps where challenge stars play a certain role and you can collect them, so I really appreciate this indicator, and perhaps as a new player you will at least know whether to expect some challenge stars at all or not. And finally, the secrets counter. Mind you, this Whomping Willow area where we are is not revisitable ever again, we're only gonna be here now, so make sure not to miss the 2 secrets here, okay? And finally, for the settings, so first of all, the visual ones, this is the resolution, texture detail, object detail I'm using, you can set the brightness, menu centering, which is awesome for tweaking the HUD, the user interface, based on your own screen, and also font scaling. But this is the lettering I have decided for, and these are the volume levels for music and sound effects I'm using, given the fact that I want you guys to also hear my accompanying voice. And finally, the input menu, which is super exciting in the extended mod. They added inputs for keyboard and a controller. Yes, you can absolutely play with a controller, although I prefer my WSAD and mouse controls. And of course the mouse speed sensitivity, you can invert things, auto-center camera if you are so inclined. Maybe with a controller that's more useful, but using mouse and keyboard that's incredibly limiting. You can absolutely enable controller vibrations, which is awesome. And if you're a fan of the PlayStation 1 games, auto-jump. I actually personally cannot stand auto-jump. I wish it would be disableable for the PS1 games, but alas, so it's up to you. Inverting flight control, something I loved in the Philosopher's Stone game, here in the Chamber of Secrets doesn't make much sense for reasons I'll get into later. So guys, enough about the menu. Let's rescue Ron, as the objective here says. Okay, so first and foremost, this is in a sense a gauntlet, a tutorial and a boss fight all in once. We'll need to defeat the Whomping Willow while hitting the sensitive spot over there, but for that we need to go around a particular set of nasty branches which will try to absolutely crush us, but thankfully doing a rather poor job of it. Make sure to stay at the very tip, it's gonna give you the largest window of opportunity to pass by.
I can open chests with the Alahomora spell.
To cast a spell, press and hold the left mouse button.
And then you release. And what's inside? You guessed it, Bertie Bott's every flavor beans. Now this is really interesting. I actually really preferred the Philosopher's Stone, throwing all the beans inside a chest at one point, but now you have to wait for every single individual bean, which is a bit infuriating.
To climb over low walls, I just have to walk into them.
Yep. Or, if you want a shorter animation, you can jump walk into them. Like this, saves up time.
Gargoyle as a target to activate the Lumos spell.
Yep, and this time Lumos works differently. Not only does no longer every single Lumos gargoyle trigger an unskippable cutscene, thank goodness, this was annoying in Philosopher's Stone, but rather than summoning those clouds you can climb upon, it can do all sorts of things, making objects appear or disappear. There you go, and we can pass by, and also illuminates the area around our wand. How awesome is that?
This is a save book. Walk into them to save the current state of your game. When you faint, your game will automatically revert to the point where and when you last touched a save book.
Absolutely, but unlike in the previous game, it makes no sound effect, look. Yeah, it just goes like that. I prefer the sound effect from the first one. Anywho. Ooh, this is suspicious. It turned on its own. What the hell? Interesting, I thought it was supposed to turn after we cast Flipendo. Well, nevertheless, the two beans are ours. Maybe this is a new bug the extended mod introduced. Okay, on we go.
I bet I can cast Flipendo on that luggage to push it to that ledge.
You really got smarter, Harry. It reminds me of, now, how can I get up there, from the previous game.
Hurry! This branch is squeezing me like a snake!
Well, that's what you get for having such stupid ideas, Ron, honestly. You can wait. Besides, you're gonna give us a tutorial explanation now. You'll be fine.
Alahomora can open up magically locked objects, such as chests and secret doors.
See, clearly it's not that bad. Oh, one cool thing about the extended mod, when you find a secret like now, you'll get an on-screen prompt. But we didn't get it now. Well, this is embarrassing. Oh, I know why. Because we had a cutscene with Ron explaining what happened. Okay, guys, this is really awkward. Please bear with me. We're gonna find second secret and you will see an on-screen prompt, I promise. This was pretty funny. Okay, just 4 beans. I think the most common number of beans you'll ever get from a chest is 8, in fact. Very generous.
A chocolate frog.
Chocolate frogs replenish some of your stamina. They also taste delicious.
They absolutely do. And you know what? Going into this Let's Play, I had an idea. How about each time we eat a chocolate frog, I'll get a tiny bit of chocolate in me. But then I realized the calorie intake would absolutely kill me. So I decided to go against that, despite the fact I work out 3 times a week. But no, I had to resist. But from time to time, I'm gonna reward myself with a chocolate. In this pre-Christmassy season. Ah!
Good job, Harry. Now, see if you can cast Flipendo on this branch to get it off me. I think I see a sensitive spot right there.
I love the idea someone just painted the Whomping Willow sensitive spot. And people wonder why it's so angry all the time.
Flipendo! Thanks, Harry. Much appreciated. Oh, no! won't be happy that I lost his flying car. Anyway, we better get a move on. We don't want Professor Snape catching us out so late.
Bit of a foreshadowing to something really need the extended mod restored. Anywho, you cannot cast the sensitive spot again as much as the Whomping Willow would deserve that after the trouble it's given us.
Not only does Lumos cast light, it also reveals magically hidden things.
Way ahead of your own. But yeah, it also does what it did in the first game, and that's to introduce new platforms into the mix. I didn't make it in time. I wanted to be on top of it by the time we cast Lumos, which can absolutely happen, and Harry will appear above it.
To jump, run to the ledge and press the right mouse button. Try collecting the beans on all the ledges, Harry.
Or if you have the auto jump enabled, you don't even need to do that.
Those are Bertie Bott's every flavour beans. I should collect as many as I can. They'll come in handy later.
You need to get onto this ledge over here!
You don't say, Ron, and because of this cutscene for stupid people, we missed the frog. Yeah, this game has a lot of them.
Cast Flipendo to push the block towards me, and then use it to jump to this ledge.
Okay, guys, it's time to stop underestimating the kids and making us adults feel really stupid. That was a powerful Flipendo right there. No going back past this point. What a puzzle. I think we might need a hint.
Lumos reveals illusions for what they really are.
Does it? Okay.
No dawdling, Harry!
Yeah.
Lumos!
Okay, I think we'll need a hint again.
No dawdling, Harry!
A hint, not patronizement.
You can cast Flipendo to push buttons and switches, Harry.
Thank you.
Flipendo!
Woohoo! I think we beat Ron. Come on, Harry, move. No, see, we're faster. We're ahead, but we're gonna take a detour for a secret. And now you'll see the on-screen prompt, I promise. See, this is what the extended mod implemented. This was also the case in the normal version of The Prisoner of Azkaban, but not in the normal version of Chamber of Secrets. And not at all in the Philosopher's Stone, one of my biggest pain points, that none of us would ever know if we found a secret or not. It was infuriating.
This is a bronze wizard card. There are 50 of these scattered throughout Hogwarts. Each time you collect 10 new bronze cards, you are given a permanent stamina increase. Pressing the escape key will allow you to access the Folio Magi and look at the wizard cards you've collected thus far.
Okay, Philosopher's Stone veterans, tell me, what improvement have you just seen when picking up a wizard card? No 10 seconds long cutscene. That's exactly right. So let's follow Stephen Fry's advice and open the Folio Magi, and let me introduce you to the screen. So first of all, the card we picked up, Hesper Starkey, 1881 to 1973, who studied the use of phases of the moon in potion making. But I think Stephen Fry does a much better job of reading these out.
Hesper Starkey, 1881 to 1973, who studied the use of phases of the moon in potion making.
So that's essentially it. I'll try to have Steven read out as many cards as humanly possible for us here. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about, as you can already see, there'll be 101 wizard cards we'll collect in this game, as opposed to the 25 in the previous one. So again, larger scope, larger game, and there's so much to explore here, which is absolutely awesome. Now, as Stephen already explained to us, each time you collect 10, your stamina will increase. So Harry will essentially get scarred even more than he already is, because I think by the end of the game you'll have 6 lightning bolt scars representing your health. But I just find the idea that there are more scars appearing over Harry's body because he picks up wizard cards way funnier. Anywho, so that's the purpose that the bronze cards serve. Honestly, the silver cards serve no other purpose than just by the time you get all 40, you'll finally be able to unlock a room that has the 11 gold cards, right? But it's still nice. And the extended mod actually rebalanced things and card placement somewhat, meaning you can only do that once you beat the final boss and the main level of the story, so as a bit of an epilogue, which I think is awesome. Going into it a bit earlier broke the story immersion somewhat, but it was possible in the normal version of the game, and I'll tell you why once we're inside Hogwarts, okay? So that's essentially it. Let's go back to the action. Oh yeah, this takes us back, doesn't it? The good old knight armors are still here, providing the endless supply of sugar, and we're here for it. Nothing you can do with the fountains, really. And now, guys, we will actually enter the next area. We'll move on from Whomping Willow to Hogwarts grounds. And no, you cannot ever revisit this, so just make sure you have those 2 secrets and essentially 28 beans and Hesper's Starkey card. One important thing, if you ever miss a missable card, that is a card in an area that's not infinitely revisitable, there will be many students more than happy to help you part with your Bertie Bott's Every Flavor beans and sell that card to you. So even if you miss some, you can still get all of them, it's just gonna cost you beans, which actually gives a better purpose to the beans, honestly, than if you find everything. But later about that. See, no going back. That's it. Actually, we'll never even reach this platform up high here, but officially we just moved from Whomping Willow to Hogwarts grounds, so the X icon really works just based on the map placement where you are. Oh, that skybox is so magical. I love it.
Look at all the stars.
Exactly, Harry, you get it.
No getting through this door just now.
Now this door would lead into this sort of herbology lesson greenhouse area, but alas, it's not yet accessible. Many of the branching pathways will open up gradually, so exploration is the key here. Okay, let's leave Ron and this dragon statue alone for now. I want to get our hands on the beans here. And if you guys are playing the normal version of the game, it is absolutely crucial that you explore everything you can right now. You're gonna get only one more opportunity throughout the game, and whilst this is an area...
I hope Ron didn't get lost.
He probably did. Whilst this is an area you can revisit as many times as you want during daytime, during nighttime, in the normal version of the game, it's treated as a separate map with separate beans and secrets. Okay? However, the extended mod synchronizes these, so the progress you make during nighttime will reflect during daytime, so you don't have to be stressed about that, but also it means you get less duplicate beans, strangely enough. Okay, and we just got our hands on the first silver card. Stephen, on to you.
Jocelyn Wadcock, 1911 to the present. Chaser for Puddlemere United Quidditch team. Record for highest number of goals during British season this century against Ballycastle Bats, 1931.
Thank you ever so much. There's just something so comforting about your voice. Oh, by the way, this is, of course, as told by the flags, and the flags behind, the entrance to the Quidditch pitch, but it's not yet accessible. We'll need to have our Quidditch practice with Oliver Wood this year. The door over here in the normal version of the game was locked, but now we can access it.
I wonder where Hagrid is. Out in his hut, I suppose.
Absolutely a restored content line, so let's follow this dark path. We are getting closer and closer to the Forbidden Forest, but also the groundskeeper's hut, with smoke coming out of the chimney. Another new thing to the extended mod, which is absolutely awesome. So first things first, there are 8 beans scattered around here, around and inside the feeding troughs for piglets, and a particularly confused goat, but we're gonna see them later on during daytime. For now, we can already get our hands on this card over here. Okay, so this is Havelock Sweeting 1634 to 1710. Unicorn Expert. Helps set up unicorn reservations throughout Britain. Now guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe this is an ancestor to Poppy Sweeting from Hogwarts Legacy by essentially almost 200 years or so? They both love magical creatures, that would make a lot of sense to me. Anywho, let's move on. Over here, we see a first cauldron of this kind. These cauldrons serve one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to add up Wigan tree barks and flabberous mucuses and turn them into Wiggenweld potions, which will heal us. But first, we need to attend a potions lesson where Snape will teach us how to do it, okay? Again, if you played Hogwarts Legacy, you know exactly how Wiggenwelds work. I believe they were inspired by this Chamber of Secrets game back in 2002, okay? Until then, it will just say I can't I'll have to wait to use this. Unfortunately, it's not a voiced line. Alright, we can save. This is an infinitely respawning save game book. There are many like these in the infinitely revisitable areas, which I really appreciate. A bean, but we cannot enter the storage room. And just a chest with even more beans. And of course, the more beans we'll have, the sooner we'll be able to buy a couple of upgrades. But later about that. And this, my friends, is an entrance to the Forbidden Forest. You can see very poor representation of Hagrid's hut. What the hell is this? And the forest itself, okay? We'll only get to visit it once and during story, when things will really get real towards the end, okay? Now, possibly one of the coolest things the extended mod introduced into the game, just watch this. We made it inside Hagrid's hut. The hut I always wanted to move around in freely and explore since the Philosopher's Stone. It is identical. You know, the cutscenes when you would give him the fire seeds, he would give you the flute. It's the same hut, although not the same Hagrid.
Welcome back for the new school year, Harry. I'm still gamekeeper here, thank goodness.
Well, he looks and sounds a lot better.
If I were you, Harry, I'd be running along to the Gryffindor common room.
Yeah, he's right. But let's open the chest that's been teasing us last year. This entire time there have, well, probably been 8 beans inside, but it's so cathartic to finally explore it. And that's it. You can from time to time pop in to visit Hagrid. That's the only purpose this serves, but again, what a delicious surprise. Okie dokie. Now, later on in the story, we'll take a sip of Polyjuice Potion, turn into someone else, and then try and enter Hagrid's hut, and something funny will happen. It's little secrets and Easter eggs like these that are pepper sprayed through the extended mod that are just absolutely magical. Okay, now Ron has been waiting patiently, but first, let's see if we can get 4 beans out of the statue. Okay, more, give me more. Awesome, and that's it for the dragon statue. Well, thankfully Snape still isn't around.
The rain has stopped. At least we'll be dry when we get expelled. The only thing I'm not looking forward to this time is seeing Snape.
Let's just hope he's left because he missed out on the defense against the dark arts job again.
Or he might have been sacked. I mean, everyone hates him.
Or maybe he's waiting to hear why you two didn't arrive on the Hogwarts Express.
Professor Snape, we were...
In my search of the grounds, I noticed that considerable damage seems to have been done to a very valuable Whomping Willow. I will be speaking with Professor McGonagall later.
That tree did more damage to us.
Silence! I would advise you both to make your way immediately to the Gryffindor common room.
But Professor Snape, we...
Go, and count yourselves lucky. If I should catch either of you out after tonight, I will definitely deduct house points.
What house points?
We better do as Snape says.
To be fair, if you don't do as Snape says immediately, what a tongue twister, it's still gonna be fine.
Get to your common room, Potter.
But where is my common room?
Mr. Potter, you are testing my patience. Go to your common room immediately. To your common room. Now.
Okay, he's definitely losing patience, but I find him less scary than he was in the first game, where he deducted just random 3 points away from us. This time he never deducts points from you, so I guess even Snape has matured somewhat. But there is another professor who will do that. Ooh, she scares me. Anywho. It's the only opportunity you get to bump into Snape like this, out here, hear these lines before he enters the inside of Hogwarts. So make sure to do that. Now you will see these symbols pepper sprayed through revisitable areas. These pertain to the final spell we'll learn in the game, okay? For now, many places adjacent to them are inaccessible. But this secret is, partially. There we go, so 8 beans scattered here, and I think 8 more inside the chest, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, now, not much we can do about this bramble, but later on we'll use the Diffindo spell, yes, also featured in Hogwarts Legacy, to allow us to continue further. Okay, and that's almost it. There is one little nook I'd like to show you with the chest. You will see this symbol, it's the Diffindo spell symbol.
I can't get out that way.
And only once we learn it will we be able to revisit the actual challenge where we learn it, which makes sense. So this is essentially it. There was a locked door here, a locked Quidditch stadium, locked Forbidden Forest entrance, we are at Hogwarts grounds, and the only other area marked on the map is the Diffindo challenge, marked also by this banner. Next to it, a chest, yay! Okay, and here, this is interesting and showcases the improvements made by the extended mod. You can open up this wall using Alohomora we learned from Hermione last year. And if you take a step here, nothing will happen. In the normal version of the game, you would already register the third secret, but not in the extended mod, which I appreciate, because you don't actually get to engage with the contents of this secret until you learn Diffindo and remove the bramble over here. And this way, the extended mod makes sure that your secret trackers are accurate based on what secrets you've actually properly entered. There are going to be many more examples like this, and I really appreciate these quality of life improvements. Okay, inside Hogwarts we go into very familiar looking area.
The Gryffindor dormitory is just over here to the right, remember?
That was a very useful reminder because I would not remember at all. It was never really shown where it is connected to in the previous game. But look, it's just like we remember it from the Philosopher's Stone, but it suddenly has balconies on the sides. This is the door where all the students flew out of at the very beginning of the game and where we talked to Albus Dumbledore, your headmaster. So, let's see if we can go there.
No getting through this door just now.
Yeah, unfortunately not, but what's really cool for consistency's sake, if you open up the map now and you can press the tab key on the keyboard, if you're using a keyboard, not a controller, you will see that this door leads to the Great Hall. How awesome is that? It completely fits the Philosopher's Stone game's cutscene. Where we actually are is the so-called entry hall, even though the X spot marks the stairs. This is not actually sensitive to where you are physically in the level, it's just it is scripted to show you based on certain areas and threshold where you are at a fixed place, okay? So here we are. We can of course leave to the grounds or re-enter the Hogwarts castle itself, really cute icons. On the other side, what we'll see...
This door is locked!
...is another locked door. This goes into dungeon hallway. I'm gonna show you the map once we actually reach it and it will become accessible. It will by the time we're ready to learn how to mix Wiggenweld potions via a lesson from Snape, okay? Now, next to it, however, a chest! Yay! Actually, this is a perfect time for me to explain one thing. All these revisitable areas that you see on the world map, they will not change like they did in the first game. You know how chests would mysteriously appear and disappear, how portraits would change all the time, some of them become openable. This is a particularly magical aspect of the Hogwarts that is now gone and replaced by more Metroidvania elements where you can revisit, and each time you learn a new spell, you will essentially have a reason to revisit and re-explore areas. Actually, the first spell we'll learn, Rictus Sempra, is a bad example of that because it will not unlock anything new, right? It's just a combat-focused spell, which honestly just teaches us how to do what we already pulled off with Flipendo last year. It's a bit of a disappointment. But Scourge, Spongify, and Diffindo all will make new areas accessible. So they changed their philosophy somewhat for the Chamber of Secrets, and I quite like it, but the magical aspect of the first game is a little bit gone. Thankfully, we can play both and not have to choose and experience both of them, so that's awesome. Okay, Nick, I can see you creepily staring at me. What is it you want?
Why, if it isn't young Potter, how are you? Glad to be back at Hogwarts?
Well, I would be, Nick, if Professor Snape hadn't caught me outside.
Well, I suppose that rules are there for a reason, although sometimes the reason escapes me. Yes, you shouldn't be up this late, you know. Better get back to the Gryffindor common room before Professor Snape catches you again. Goodbye.
And
Bye, Nick.
that's it. We do not get to really talk to him again. I love how the cutscene would redirect us there, but you bump into him. No, that's it. He doesn't talk to you anymore. But there are a couple of restored cutscenes with Nick in the extended mod, just like this one. This cutscene would not exist in the retail version of the game, okay? Now, you know what to do with armors at this point. Oh yes, absolute goodness. Sometimes the beans can get stuck on the rails, so I just prefer to, you know, gradually work my way like this. Hopefully, I'm not gonna regret that side. Whoa! No, don't fall! Oh, thank God. Wouldn't want to go down the stairs again. So that's essentially it. Now, this is a perfect example of what I mean by Metroidvania elements. We do not yet know the Spongify spells, so we cannot cast it and reach the area over there. However, you can get a bit crafty. You can open the chest and hope a particular bean drops to have at least something extra now. Oh yeah, Harry, it's been a long summer. It's been a long summer. You need those beans. My god, they really take the edge off. The purple ones especially, they really scratch that itch. Yeah, Harry is a bean addict. Like I said, it's been a long summer without beans, but now you're back. So we got one ahead early. Now, if this makes you nervous, seeing multiple beans float there, thinking, my god, what if they'll disappear? Some other students will pick them up. Don't worry. Harry is the biggest addict. No other student will pick them up, and they'll wait for you for the entire game, okay? Nothing to worry about, even if we'll cycle through nighttime and daytime in the entrance hall, which again is a new thing to the extended mod. The normal version of the game would have night and daytime for the Hogwarts grounds, but not for the interior of Hogwarts. The entire lighting is now changed, and it's absolutely lovely. Now over here we'll see the Rictus Sempra symbol banners.
I wonder why this door is locked. Oh well.
And even Harry doesn't yet know what they are, but they in fact lead to the Rictus Sempra challenge, which will become accessible after we learn the spell via the story, and then you'll be able to re-access them freely over and over, as many times as your heart desires. Okay, on the other balcony over here is something far more interesting.
This is the House Point Ceremony Chamber.
Absolutely. And this right here is the so-called Bean Bonus Room. Now, oh yeah, the X spot moved, that's really cute. We are at House Point Ceremony now. Now, in order to get inside, we're only gonna get 4 opportunities through the main story, and 1/5 opportunity via the extended mod at the very end, where we'll be able to revisit this area freely, forever. It's a room with an absolutely ginormous amount of beans, but very limited time we'll have to explore it. And it's either gonna be us for Gryffindor or Malfoy for Slytherin, depending on how we'll do points-wise. Against the Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw houses might as well not exist in the story. That's how these are written. And there's gonna be a ceremony held each time we learn a new spell, so 4 times in this year. Now, this is interesting. In the normal version of the game, again, you would already register a secret, not so in the extended mod. You need to get down first, and to do that, oh my god, let's be real careful. Do not touch this ectoplasm, because you're gonna take damage. Okay, you need to cast the Scourge spell to remove the ectoplasm, and then the Diffindo spell to remove the web, which is an interesting spell combination. So it's gonna be halfway through the game we'll be able to access what's down there and access the secret properly. So again, the extended mod did not yet reward us with a secret, which is as it should be in my opinion. Mirrors! We love casting Alahomora on them. That cool magical purple effect where we just enter through the... is gone. Now it's just mechanical, which is such a disappointment. I really preferred the Philosopher's Stone one. Okay, inside, just a plethora of beans, meaning we'll have a really good head start for some serious trading, and also feeding Harry's endless addiction to beans. And now, let's go all the way around, and this area should also be incredibly familiar. Remember how each time after a certain part in the story we would wander around?
This door is locked.
Yeah, just like the Rictus Sempra challenge, so is the Spongify challenge currently inaccessible, as will be the Scourge challenge on the other side, okay? But now, one of my favorite objects in the whole game, and also one of my biggest pain points. You remember when I told you I can never ever give you an accurate number of beans you are gonna give in any instance in the Chamber of Secrets? This is a perfect example of that. You can flipendo the witch statue 3 times, and it will always give you somewhere between 2 or 5 beans. So, if you're very unlucky, you can get 6 beans, or if you're extremely lucky, you can get 15 beans. Let's see what happens. That is 4. That is 8. Okay, so we got 10, which is in the lower amount of the beans I was hoping for, yeah. So, yeah, again, every playthrough will be different because of things like that, and giving you an accurate number of beans is impossible. When I played this before, I got all 15. I was incredibly lucky. Now, not so much. This is another partial secret we can enter for a bean, but will not be registered in the extended mod until we overcome it at the very top using the Scourge challenge and removing ectoplasms, okay? And over here is an entrance to the Grand Staircase. This is an area which will also have a day and night cycle, however in this particular night it is not accessible. We'll have to wait for tomorrow's episode to see the staircase, okay? And that's when I'm gonna show you the map as well. None of these portraits are castable, by the way, but I just love the lighting at nighttime here. Again, the retail version of the game did not have nighttime for this Hogwarts entrance area, and the extended mod just implemented it with moonlight. Absolutely gorgeous.
This door is locked.
Same gist like Spongify and Rictus Sempra, and now let's cast the wizard statue, and this one is way more interesting this year around. We'll use the pressure plate and open up a door to... No! This is not the tutorial level with Fred and George from the Philosopher's Stone, so I guess Hogwarts is ever-changing. This time, it's yet another secret with 4 beans, a cauldron where you can mix wiggling wells, once we know how, and a chest with a silver card. Or is it? This is another perfect example of the changes done by the extended mod. In the retail version of the game, you would get a silver card, Andros the Invincible, I think a Greek wizard who would be known for conjuring up the Patronus the size of a giant. This time you get 8 beans. Now this feels wrong, doesn't it? But no, there is a rhyme and reason to it. The extended mod changed things around, ensuring that you cannot find all 40 wizard cards until you finish the main part of the story, beat the final boss, and rescue a damsel in distress. And only then will you have all 40 silver wizard cards to have 4 silver keys to access the golden card challenge. So there are rebalancing fixes like that in the extended mod. Now you might not like them, you might prefer the way the original retail version did them. Once I played through it once, I understood why, and I kind of cannot go back to the retail version. So just don't be surprised in case you're playing the normal unmodded version, that you get a silver card and I get 8 beans, what the hell's going on? This is intentional design of the mod. Okay, Ron has been really patiently waiting for us. Another mirror, this time covered with a cobweb. We'll need Diffindo to open it up, not Alahomora. That's not gonna do the trick.
The dormitory is up here, Harry.
Okay, yep, this should be it. The Gryffindor common room. Once we're actually inside, the X will move there, okay? Now, with that out of the way, guys, this is where I'm gonna say goodbye for today. It was a bit of a longer episode, just getting us started, that sort of thing. I hope you had a blast, and now you'll know what to essentially expect every day of December up until Christmas on 25th, okay? So with that, I'd like to leave things for today and let the cutscenes and Harry's first night at Hogwarts play out. And we'll continue when Harry wakes up tomorrow morning, and you'll have another fresh episode waiting for you.
Finally, there's the portrait of the fat lady. Give her the password and let's go to bed.
I thought you'd have the password.
Why would I have the password?
Why would I have it? I've been with you since we got here.
You're right. I bet I know who would have it.
There you are.
Right on time.
I heard the most incredible story about you two getting expelled over a flying car.
Hermione, please, we're tired. Could you just tell us what the password is?
Wattlebird.
It's good to see you again, Harry.
But no good to see you too, Ron.
There you two are. Brilliant entrance. Got the year off with a bang. Mum's furious, by the way.
You two should hear about the bean trading system we've set up. It's based on Bertie Bott's every flavour beans. Fred, myself and several of our associates have set up trading opportunities throughout Hogwarts.
Some of us will occasionally have an item to trade. If you have enough beans, we'll trade with you.
Where are we supposed to get all these beans?
They're hidden all over the place.
It's not hard to find them. You should have enough to start trading in no time.
It'll be a pleasure doing business with you, I'm sure.
Once inside the common room, Harry was greeted by the cheers of his fellow Gryffindors. Harry and Ron became Gryffindor heroes due to their little accident with the Whomping Willow. Harry slept well that night and looked forward to his first day at Hogwarts.
Now, before we take a comfy nap in the absolutely lovely Gryffindor common room, I'd like to say thanks to my free Patreon members as well as my Winstons. Blind Goopel, Mick, Severin Drax, Enstickle, Katie Danger and Buddha too. I would also like to say thanks to my caretaker Winstons, Michael McConkie, Karavetu and Renigod Durney. A special thanks goes to my veteran Winstons, Andrea Paveglianiti and Alexander. And finally, I would like to give a very, very special thanks to my one and only fine vintage Winston, Akira Foxmind. Thank you guys all so much for supporting the channel and for painting a weak spot on that bloody dastardly Whomping Willow. Without your help, Harry and Ron would be stuck there until their bones would turn into dust. And that would be very brief end to this very short adventure. Thank you so much for your help, and I will see all of you tomorrow.